Hi, I'm Kathleen, a 3L law student and LSAT tutor. I help students, especially those who learn different, to break down the LSAT into clear, teachable strategies. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the mistake journal. So let's get started. So the concept of a mistake journal is something that I don't know. It's one thing to just do it, but you have to really embrace it. And you have to almost switch your mindset, which is going to be part of building your confidence around this. So we almost want to look forward to that mistake journal. And what you're going to see is as you start to master the LSAT, you will have less and less to put into the mistake journal. Makes sense, right? So initially, though, what we're looking for is identifying how you're getting the same type of questions wrong, or if you're getting the same type of questions wrong. So by looking deeply at what questions aren't getting right, we're able to then establish your patterns. We're able to see what you're missing. You kind of change that thought process for you and really build the muscle memory around getting the right question. So it's so important that you use a mistake journal. And try to change your attitude. I know that quite often we think, I made a mistake and I just don't want to think about it and stay positive and move past it. But as we start out in this journey of mastering the standardized test, which is the LSAT, it's very important actually that you embrace your mistakes and you're almost like, okay, great, this is a learning opportunity. How was I thinking when I did this question? What did I identify and what should I have identified? How come I didn't read that question that way? And that helps us to come up with how we're going to correct that. Think about it like if you go to the gym. If you've gone to the gym before and you've been maybe doing one of the exercises the wrong way, you're doing crunches, but when you do the crunches, you're hollowing out your back. So you're not getting the gain that you want in that muscle memory. It's kind of the same thing. A trainer comes in, identifies what you're doing wrong, and now able to correct it. And now suddenly you only have to do 5 of those crunches to get the same impact that you were doing 20 before and not getting that muscle being built. So it's kind of the same idea. So what's important is we want to show what question type is it, and you can use different colored markers, highlighters. You can set up a table in your notebook if you want. We want to identify the question type. Was it a flaw, a strengthening, an inference? What type of question was it? Secondly, you want to be boldly honest. No one's marking you on this. Be real with yourself. Why? What did I miss? What did they get me with? 3, what was the pattern? What repeats? So as you start to add up more questions that you got wrong, what is the pattern that we are seeing? And 4 is the fix. So the next time I'm going to know to look for this. How am I going to correct it? So it's kind of the 4 points that you're going to jot into each mistake that you do. And you're going to really sit with it for a minute and make sure you're assessing it properly and not rushing past the learning opportunity of the mistake. So um, everyone makes mistakes, but it's important to know you did them so that we can assess them and we can find your patterns and make them correct. All right. So are you getting the same logical reasoning or reading comp questions wrong over and over? So today I'm going to show you the exact mistake journal that I use with students to fix patterns fast so you don't leave points on the test. So a mistake journal is a simple log where every miss gets captured and analyzed and turned into a personal rule. So 2 minutes per entry is how you convert practice into the score. So how this raises your score? Well, patterns that you have become your own personal rules, and these rules become your reflexes, and the reflexes become your points. Then your journal gives you a targeted warm-up list before each study block. 3 if then this fixes, and then you drill it. So if it's this question, I know to do this. That's kind of how we're building that muscle memory and getting you into new patterns. So the other thing to know is confidence is so important, and the mistake journal is going to help you to address the things that are taking away your confidence, right? So all the stuff you're worried about, instead of just keeping it in your head and circling around it, we're going to put it down and address it and deal with it and resolve it. And that's what's going to happen in this mistake journal. So your section, well, we don't have the logical games anymore, so cross that off. I thought I removed them all from the slides, but we have logical reasoning and reading comp. Those are the only 2 sections we have to worry about. Lucky you, because they had logical games when I did it. Anyways, so when you're working through your test questions and your sample questions, and I have another slide on that, when you're working through those and you get a question wrong, it goes into the mistake journal. You're going to log down what type it was Or if there's a subtype, you're going to talk about your answer and how you got there. And you're going to talk about the correct answers and what the difference was. Time is confidence, and confidence is time. So we're not worried about time initially. We've talked about this before. We'll add time into it once you're strong in answering your questions. But that's kind of the connection. Did you take too much time on it? How long did you take? What was your overall feel for it? Did you change it? Okay. Did you originally pick the right answer and then switch it out? Did you overthink it? So then, we're saying, well, why I chose it. And you don't have to answer all these questions for everyone, but, feel yourself out. Was it a brain trap? Did it get you on the wording? Did you, um, you know, match the right answer to the right question type, or did you answer it based on a different type of question? And then question 6, why is it wrong? Objectively, step back and see if you can see why your answer wasn't right. Why is the correct answer right? So what did you miss? And I guess 6 and 7 are really the same question, but by asking it slightly differently, it'll give you a different analysis. And number 8, trigger that I missed. What did you miss? What words didn't you pick up on that would have told you what the right answer was, or what type of question we're answering? And then 9, what's the new rule that's going to come out of this? If I see this, then I know that. If this, then that. If I feel this when I'm answering the question, then that. Make sure that you date them so we know where we were in the journey when you made the question wrong. Was this your first test? Was this the second? Where were we about it? So because we're going to come back and keep reviewing these as we start to master things. So remember, the goal here is that from the mistake journal, we get if this, then that rules that help you to build the muscle memory to be more confident in answering the questions. Okay. How to log logical reasoning misses. So misses are wrong answers, right? So we're why I chose it. What was the brain trap? Well, it sounded like what I remember from a similar question. I chased the topic. Okay. Why was it wrong? Introduces a new comparison class not supported by the stimulus. So remember, that's an example. So that's, has to match with the right thing. Or why is the correct one right? Points to the causal leap, assumes correlation and causation. Did I miss a trigger? Words like caused by, therefore, after, because. Okay, if then fix. So from that recording of the missed question or the wrong question, you're going to say, okay, self, if I see casual language without a ruled out alternative cause, then I must paraphrase casual flaw and avoid answer choices that add new comparison classes. And that's a tough question for you to understand how that is unless you're looking at the answer. But basically, what we're saying is you're saying, if I see this, then that. You could say, if I see that it's a flaw question, then I have to make sure that it's not, giving me an assumption that doesn't match, right? So I'm trying to make it simpler for you so that you can see the if-then rule come into play. Okay, reading comprehension and notes. So reading comprehension entries focus on why your prediction was off or wrong, main point, missed contrast markers, or answer choices that are too strong. Logical reasoning entries focus on identifying question types and matching the best answers and why my matching was off. So often your reading comprehension is going to say why your prediction was off, where your logical reasoning is going to say why your matching was off. Often, just so you kind of have a format. Your review schedule. So you're going to look back at these as you're working through and review them. We've 48 hours out, 1 week out, and 3 weeks out. So on those loops where you're kind of circling back on them. And what you're going to find is at 48 hours out, you might be still confused around things. 1 week out, you're starting to kind of see the beginning of, yeah, okay, I can see my if-thens coming together. And by the 3 weeks out of using the journal, you've really started to develop a hot list of if-then and understanding your question types being identified and what you're looking for triggers. So you're going to update status to review, then mastered. So, what you're doing is you're circling back to your mistakes. You're saying, okay, I reviewed them. And then once you feel like, okay, no, I've got this, and you're starting to master those questions, we can move on, right? So you're removing the status yourself. You're saying, nope, I had these mistakes in the journal. I'm still working through this. And then I'm, reflecting on it and trying again, seeing if I'm getting similar mistakes until you graduated up to master's where you're like, no, I'm nailing those questions and they're not in my mistake journal anymore. If you miss again, it cycles back to day 0, right? So it's just a matter of starting over. Don't be frustrated with yourself. You're just not nailing the if-then rules that you're developing out of the mistake journal. Common pitfalls to avoid. Writing a novel. No way. You can't learn by writing. Like, yes, you need to analyze it, but keep it to point form. Keep it to things you can remember because you're boiling it down into a rule that works for you. That's if I see this, then I do that, right? So you're logging only misses. So also log your close calls or ones you guessed on. So if you guessed on something and you weren't confident in it, don't count that as a win. Log that in, and you can even start if you want in your notebook a section that's for you. Like I guessed, I'm going to be honest with myself. I guessed on that one and I got it right, but this is how I guessed it, and that will teach you things too. Skipping the if then fix. This is a score changer. Like you've got to do the if then fix. You've got to develop a rule. That's the point of the mistake journal, is for you to develop rules that you're going to use so that you nail the questions on the exam. Okay, so what's next? Grab my free LSAT study notes. So that's a big free 40-page note, that set of notes that really outlines how to study. It goes through, there's two tables that teaches all of the different question types and what you're looking for. Some goes through all the vocabulary that you need to know, so you can identify things quickly. We also have new tools that drop each week, and you can, unsubscribe from the email list anytime if you don't want it, or subscribe to us and we'll send them out. Head over now and download the free pack and start turning practice into your points today. And look for more of our YouTube videos. We do offer tutoring and at both an 8 and a 12-week package, and they're at reasonable rates, and it gives you a full curriculum to study from, along with support each week and additional videos. It also comes with its entire setup of helpful videos linked into each lesson, and there's a lesson for each of the 8 or 12 weeks. So, happy studying!